Niles police officer Ivory Cross was in court today to hear the charges against him. Cross is accused of first-degree criminal sexual conduct and 3 counts of criminal sexual conduct in the second degree with a man he arrested earlier in the day. He's also accused of misconduct in office. News Center 16's Brandon Lewis was in the courtroom today and joins us now. And Brandon, what happened?
Well, no plea was entered today. Cross was in court today to hear the charges against him and have the judge discuss the conditions of his bond. Cross is currently suspended from the Niles Police Department without pay. He had very little to say in court today, but his family had plenty to say following the arraignment.
Because Ivory is black.
The family of 25-year-old police officer Ivory Cross unleashed their anger following his arraignment as they professed his innocence.
He told them, go search my house, do anything, because he know he was innocent. If he was guilty, he would have never cooperated from the beginning. Y'all corrupt just like them police officers are. You saw how they stood by the back door. Not one of them stood up there and stood for my brother. Why? Because they're dirty themselves. But y'all don't look at that. I bet you didn't go get them all on camera and ask them what are they doing behind closed doors? Because I bet it wasn't my brother. 9 times out of 10, if they so-called got something, check the tape, because it's about one of them. Not my brother. Not my brother.
And you know what? Watch your back.
Some family members also allege racism in the Berrien County Prosecutor's Office and Niles Police Department.
I'm here for Ivory because I don't believe it. Because you know what? Because he's white, black, and the guy that was here accused of is white. Black on black crime means nothing.
Inside the courtroom, the family was reserved but supportive of Cross as prosecutors asked for a $250,000 bond.
The allegations about where, when, and how these crimes took place, I think, show a indifference to the law and authority by the defendant. I think a high bond is appropriate in this case.
Judge Scott Schofield agreed with the bond and instructed him to turn over all police equipment, weapons, banned him from going near schools or colleges, and gave him a curfew of 9 p.m.
Do you understand, Mr. Cross?
Yes, sir.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. This is a prejudiced town and a prejudiced courthouse.
One family member of Cross's family was kicked out of the courtroom for her behavior. Cross's next court date is Wednesday morning, although he may not be required to appear in person. If convicted, he could face life in prison.
Okay, and $250,000, a lot of money. Will he make bail?
Yeah, we're told he'll likely be out tonight or early tomorrow at the latest.
All right, Brandon Lewis reporting live tonight from the newsroom. Brandon, thanks. And good evening, I'm Terry McFadden. We are following breaking news tonight. As we first reported on WNDU.com, police are investigating a murder after a body was found in the old Goshen Inn building. The body was found this afternoon inside the old hotel building at the intersection of Lincoln Way and Fairfield. That's southwest of the city of Goshen. News Center 16's Brandon Lewis was the first reporter on the scene and has been digging deep all evening long for information. And Brandon, what do we know tonight?
Terry, this still remains a very active crime scene. This police tape that you see here behind me has been up all afternoon, all evening long, and it will remain up at least for the foreseeable future around the old Goshen Inn and Conference Center. It's also known as the old Ramada Inn here off US 33 Lincoln Way East on the south side of Goshen. We're told inside a man was found dead this afternoon. The coroner was seen removing his body around 8 this evening. Earlier today, Goshen police really didn't say a whole lot to us as they went inside and out of their vehicles. They had to bring in some extra electrical cords because it is a closed down motel. They needed some extra lighting to light the crime scene inside. Now, obviously, if this autopsy confirms that this is a murder, it would be the second in the past 2 weeks. Last Sunday, you'll remember Professor James Miller was killed during a home invasion and his wife was seriously injured. The killer in that case was never caught. This time, though, we're hearing it may be a different story. The police aren't really out here scouring the neighborhood. We haven't seen them much, and we hear that they may have a person of interest in mind. We're also told that this attack may not have been random. The coroner has scheduled an autopsy for tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. We expect to learn the results of that tomorrow afternoon. And of course, we'll bring you the latest on News Center 16 tomorrow at 5. But this case is, if it is a murder, is obviously alarming to a lot of Goshen residents. We caught up with the Goshen councilwoman who represents this area and some people who are vying for her seat. We'll tell you what they had to say and how they're going to calm the community coming up a little bit later in this newscast. Terry?
All right, and Brandon, this is a hotel that's no longer in use. Are police or anybody saying how this person got inside?
we're not really hearing a whole lot. There have been a couple rumors that have been spread, but Goshen police haven't really said much. They usually wait until they have a lot of evidence. The investigators were here a lot earlier this afternoon. They're still on the scene, so we imagine once they get everything processed tomorrow, we'll learn the identity of the person and just exactly how they got inside.
Yeah, but it's probably your understanding from what you can gather that probably no one should have been inside that building, correct?
No one should have been, although some people have said it's under renovation or repair, so maybe they did have a reason to be in there, but again, we expect to learn more tomorrow.
Right, and Brandon, of course, we'll check back in with you later in this newscast for more updates.
Grocery shopping is a major component of any household budget, and today we continue to show you ways to save money at the store. Yesterday, we discussed where to get the best deals. Today, News Center 16's Brandon Lewis explains how to get the best value for your dollar no matter where you're shopping.
When it comes to feeding your family, the grocery store can host a wide variety of options that come with a wide variety of price tags. Grocery prices are on pace to increase up to 5% this year. So experts like Edie Sutton say it's important to compare labels to give your family an inexpensive yet wholesome meal.
Now this is a cereal that most kids would like, and often we think of just the price of that box. It's a high sugar cereal. If you calculate it per pound, that would come to $2.81 per pound. Now the price of this one is $1.59 for the box, making it a financially better purchase than this one. Also, the sugar content is not nearly as high, so you're spending less money on a more nutrient-dense food.
Milk prices can vary by store, but typically $2.49 to $2.79 is a good price. But there are other ways to save in addition to shopping around.
Now this particular gallon of milk is $2.79. We'll be using a lot of this in the holiday season for baking. A way to save money instead of using milk is to use the dry milk. This will save you about $5 because this box will make 32 cups of milk. If you buy the equivalent in the liquid form, you'll be spending $5 more.
The USDA recommends most people eat up to 2 cups of fruit every day, but some argue fresh fruit is just too expensive. Sutton disagrees.
The whole bag of 3 pounds is $2.29, making it 76 cents per pound. Another option would be to get canned mandarin oranges. These are about 80 cents per pound, so a little bit more. They have added sugar, so you're spending a little bit more money for less nutrients. The final choice, which many kids love, are the fruit-flavored roll-ups. Again, it's highly processed. When you read the label, the first ingredient is going to be sugar. This is $6 a pound. Now, no one would say they're getting a great buy if their oranges cost $6 a pound.
Grains are an important part of any diet, but making the right choice based on ingredients can also be the right choice for your wallet.
Half of all the grains we should have in a day should be whole. Now this price, 99 cents for this loaf of bread, is a good price. However, when you compare it with other breads, it may not be that good. Let's look at this loaf for $1.69. It is whole grain. How do I know that? I look at the first ingredient that's on the label, and it says whole grain, versus the first ingredient on this loaf of bread is enriched flour. Now the difference, even though this loaf is a little bit more expensive, whole grain fills you up more. So you're going, with 2 slices of bread, you're going to feel much more full than when you have the 2 slices of the other bread.
Finally, on any purchase, review the price per ounce. You may find a larger or smaller quantity than what you normally buy may be a better value for your dollar. Brandon Lewis, News Center 16.
And you can find the price per ounce listed near the price tag on the shelf. For even more tips on how to save at the grocery store from the Purdue Extension, visit WNDU.com and click on this story. Good evening, I'm Maureen McFadden.
And I'm Terry McFadden. We continue to follow a developing story in South Bend. Police are searching for 4 people after they broke into a home and reportedly shot a man.
Police were called to the 1100 block of North Olive Street around 6:30 this morning. A man found his house ransacked, his father lying in a pool of blood.
News Center 16's Brandon Lewis is following the story for us from the scene. And Brandon, are police releasing any more information?
Not yet. Mo and Terry, Metro Homicide detectives being very tight-lipped about this case, and the investigation is continuing. You can see the caution tape remains up here in the 1100 block of North Olive Street. Metro Homicide van still on the scene here. There is a lot of confusion in this case. At one point, we even heard the victim, 65-year-old Michael Clark, may have died. We later learned that was not true. Members of the Clark family gathered here at the scene this afternoon, spending yesterday celebrating Clark's grandson entering the military. When Clark's son, also named Michael, went to this home around 6:30 this morning, he first noticed the drawers open, flat screen TVs damaged, and the house ransacked. He then says he found his father shot in the head, lying in a pool of blood. Clark was rushed to the hospital where we're told he is now talking. Clark's son remains confident the suspects in this case will be brought to justice.
Was it worth it? Was my flat screen TV worth it? You could have had everything in my house. I wouldn't have cared. You can take the cars, the money, whatever. She didn't have to do that to my father. But they got you. It'll be all right. You can sleep now, but you can't run from the long arm of South Bend PD. I got faith in them. So should you.
And tonight, Metro Homicide says they are looking for 4 suspects in this case, although they have not released the usable description. Of course, we'll keep you updated with the latest coming up tonight on News Center 16 at 11 and online at WNDU.com. Terry?
All right, Brandon Lewis reporting live tonight from South Bend. Brandon, thank you. Good evening, I'm Terry McFadden. We're following breaking news tonight out of South Bend. A man has been killed after being shot several times on South Bend's northwest side. It happened just before 8 this evening in the 2200 block of Johnson Street near Lathrop. News Center 16's Brandon Lewis joins us live from the scene. And Brandon, what is the latest tonight?
Well, Terry, just in the past half hour, this crime scene has expanded a little bit. Police have pushed us back. This is the new crime tape, but behind me by that police car, that's where we were once allowed to go up until about a half hour ago. Police say that they are investigating the shooting that happened by that crime tape. It's centered around the side of the street here that connects Huey with Johnson Street. Police say someone fired multiple shots into the victim's black car as it headed towards Johnson Street. Now, police aren't saying whether the victim was shot in his car or outside, but his body was found further back down the street toward a small apartment complex that's back there. There was also a woman in the car with the victim when the shots rang out. Investigators say she's lucky to be alive and to have escaped without injury. So far, no suspects are in custody, but police are speaking with that woman and anyone else who may have seen what happened. Still, this marks the second call out from Metro Homicide this week and a handful of open investigations they have from this month alone.
Well, it's not about us. You know, it's about what's going on out on the street. We're still working the Trammell case, the 10-year-old boy. We just had a former police officer, a couple of people tried to rob him last night. We're still down here working on this. We were just sitting down to eat dinner when this call went out. So, you know, we're not sitting around with our fist in our eye and our thumb in our mouth. This is our job, this is what we're going to do. But it would certainly behoove a majority of these individuals to obtain some common sense from somewhere and some common dignity, but I think that eludes them. So I don't think I'll ever be without a job.
And tonight, police are withholding the name of the victim in this case, pending notification of his family. This could take some time because we're told the victim is from Hammond. But of course, once that information is released, we will bring you the latest. Terry?
All right, he's from Hammond, northwest Indiana. Any idea what he was doing in north central Indiana?
No word, and we're not even sure if the woman is from this area or if she's from Hammond as well. That's something that investigators are going to try to figure out once they do get that Metro Homicide bus out there and try to put together all the pieces of this puzzle.
Brandon Lewis reporting live tonight from the northwest side of South Bend, and Brandon will be checked back in with you later on in this newscast. Brandon, thanks.